Hello Eurovision friends, thank you so much for coming to my channel Eurovision Histories for this, my first pro-contra video on one of the favorites to win Eurovision 2025, the favorite at the moment. So what I'm going to do in this video is try to find all the arguments for KAJ from Sweden winning Eurovision, and then later on in the video we'll also talk about all the arguments against KAJ from Sweden winning Eurovision. Thank you so much for your help in the community tab of my channel. That has helped a lot. You guys added lots of comments and pro and contra arguments, and I included most of them in this video. So thank you for that. And let's get right to it. As always, I will start with the positive and talk about all the arguments for KAJ from Sweden winning Eurovision. So let's go. We have to differentiate between the two votes in Eurovision that you have to do well in to win overall, the televote and the jury vote. In the case of KAJ, I want to start with the televote because one of the arguments I read the most in your comments is that this is a possible televote winner and kind of a perfect package for the televote, and I kind of agree with that. So let's look at some of the arguments we can have for this being a televote winner potentially. First of all, it is a fun song, but it is not too out there. What do I mean by that? We have lots of other televote friendly songs that might be a bit crass, a bit ridiculous, a bit too much in staging or in the lyrics or in the composition of the song, whereas KAJ kind of finds the right balance between being fun and entertaining and putting a smile on your face without being all of these things, without being crass or ridiculous or too out there. So it kind of stays family friendly, so to speak, and can appeal to a lot of people. And that's one of the main reasons why I think that this will do better than some of the other televote friendly songs. Then you can also say it is very wholesome. That's what I mean by family friendly. The guys are incredibly charismatic. People will remember these three guys singing about sauna and just putting a smile on your face, and they know how to interact with the camera. It's a very slick performance, but it still feels very spontaneous, even though it's quite choreographed, and they really find a balance there as well. And it just feels incredibly authentic. I think televoters are very good at finding out whether a song and a performance is authentic or whether it is too staged, too overdone, just trying to throw everything at us. And I think that KAJ finds the right balance and just feels incredibly authentic, and televoters will go for that. I also think that the song itself is incredibly catchy. It has an instant hook and is instant itself. It actually has two hooks in the song, which people can latch onto and remember when it comes to voting for their favorite songs. And people, especially in the televote, and especially if you're watching groups, like a song that you can very easily sing along, Cha-Cha-Cha or Rim Tim Tagidim are examples, and they won the televote the last 2 years. And this one, Bara Bada Bastu, Bastu, is also very easy to sing along quite rapidly and get after just a few minutes or seconds of listening to the song, which is a huge positive for the televote in Eurovision, obviously. I also think I said that it is quite choreographed, but it is a very slick staging, a very good production, and this is very important, I think, it explains the meaning of the song to those of us who don't speak Swedish or Finnish, which is most Europeans. You still understand sauna is the name of this activity in every language, I think, so that helps. But then the staging also helps to explain what the song is basically about. It creates a cool atmosphere, a very Nordic touch as well, and televoters like a bit of a stereotypical staging sometimes as well, and go for that more than the juries would, for example. And so the staging for this is very good for the televote as well. Televoters love national language songs, and here we have a song mostly in Swedish with some Finnish in there, so they should like that, and it helps the song stand out and be more memorable for people when they pick up the phone to vote for one of their favorites. Then I think with the world as it is at the moment, the news as they are at the moment, people might gravitate more towards fun than they do towards sadness, I call it, so more emotional ballads. I think that Måneskin did so well in the televote because they are amazing, first of all, but also because we came out of 2 years of being at home, not being able to go to concerts, and then Måneskin came along and created this concert experience at Eurovision, this oomph that we had been missing for 2 years, and I think that's why they did so well in the televote. And KAJ will be the fun that people are longing for as well after watching the news, maybe right before Eurovision starts. And you just want to be taken out of this blues that you are in because of the state of the world. And I think KAJ might be the right act to do that this year. I also think that the song appeals to all demographics. This has to do with the wholesomeness that we talked about, not being too out there. I think this is the kind of song that younger demographics might gravitate towards because it's so fun, and older demographics are not turned off by some crassness, some thing in the structure as well. Some of the songs this year are very TikTok friendly, which might not work with an older audience, and I include myself in that. But KAJ's song has a kind of traditional structure and won't turn any demographic off as well, which is very important if you want to win the televote, obviously. Then we have seen that streams and views for this are very, very high. It's second in the most streamed songs on Spotify from Eurovision this year after Italy, which is always number one because of Sanremo being such a popular program. So that's a very good sign for KAJ as well. And they are in the first semifinal, so they have a few days after the semifinal performance to possibly go viral on TikTok, on all kinds of social media with their fun performance. And that might help to create a buzz that songs that are performed in the second semifinal might not be able to create, because right after the second semifinal, people already talk about what is going to happen in the final. And so being in the first semifinal is always a plus as well. Then I think televoters love an underdog story. We see this in all these casting shows that always focus on something that happened in the life of the contestant, a traumatic event or something like that. They don't have that, and for a fun performance, that would not be nice. So what do I mean by underdog story? I mean, they are part of a minority speaking Swedish in Finland. They are representing Sweden. There's this element of they get to represent their culture on a big stage, even though usually they are underdogs in society in a certain way. And I think that if the commentators talk about that, which is a big if, but that might help to convince some people to vote for it and to feel like they are sort of the underdog, even though they are currently the favorites to win Eurovision. That might have helped them in Melodifestivalen as well. Everyone thought Måns Zelmerlöw was going to win, and they went with the underdog because it's just a nice story that they won against the former winner of Eurovision. Then I think they might expect a good running order spot, first of all, because they are number one in the odds. That might change until the running order for the final is revealed. However, they are also very early on in the first semifinal, and usually that can be an argument for them getting a better running order spot in the final, also the favorite status, obviously. And then lots of people say that there's lots of competition for in the televote, but I think there's also huge competition in the jury songs, so they might split the vote a bit more than Nemo did last year or Loreen did 2 years ago. We have France, we have Switzerland, we have Austria, lots of countries that could do really well in the juries. And so maybe a okay jury score might be enough for KAJ to win if they also get a very huge televote score. Then I also think, let's go to the second vote that we have in Eurovision. I think the song is good enough for the juries as well. First of all, again, it is fun, but not too out there. If a song is too out there, Windows 95 Man comes to mind, for example. The juries will destroy it, basically, and not give it any points, even though it gets a few points from the televote. And here, I think this is the right balance, again, also for the juries to give this a few points. This is more of a Carrie and Baby Lasagna type of thing than a Windows 95 type of staging. I think the song is very well produced. It is well composed as well, and the juries will be able to appreciate that. I also think that the vocals are very good. The harmonies they create are not easy to do. I saw a performance of Nessun Dorma, I think some parody version, where they really showed off that they can sing and that they are able to sing. And I think that the juries will be able to appreciate that as well. I think the vocals are better than KAJ or Baby Lasagna, for example, if we compare it to the last 2 years. They are the leader in the odds, and the juries have seemed to go with the leader a bit more than they otherwise would. There's a bit of a bandwagon effect. You want to be with the song that will do well, most probably, and not be criticized for not voting for a song that everyone else loved. That might be happening this year as well, and so being the leader in the odds could help a lot with the juries. And then it feels like the juries are very slowly becoming more open to funner and national final entries. So we saw KAJ come fourth with the juries. We saw Baby Lasagna come third with the juries, which I had kind of forgotten about. And so it is not impossible for this to do really well with the juries as well. A lot of people have said that it's Sweden, and Sweden always does well with the juries. I think that's a bit of a fallacy, because if Sweden doesn't send a slick pop song, that might not actually happen, but we shall see this year whether it will be possible. And that's almost the best argument for me, they almost won the juries in Melodifestivalen. And Melodifestivalen is a competition with lots of jury-friendly songs. It certainly was this year, and still they managed to come within 2 points, I think, of Måns Zelmerlöw and actually winning the jury vote in Melodifestivalen. So that shows that they have a lot of jury appeal. Vocal, staging, slickness, charisma, all of that will help to convince the juries to vote for it. Now, some more overall arguments. It is spontaneous enough for the televote, but coordinated enough for the jury vote. I like that argument. That's from one of my followers. It is, and that's also from one of my subscribers, it is Finnish fun. So the kind of entry we saw from Finland in the last 3 years, really, but with a very good Swedish production. So the great combination and compromise between these two, and that might help it stand out quite a bit. And then also Melodifestivalen, a bit like Sanremo, is producing the kind of package that will do well at Eurovision no matter what. Sweden has not done badly in Eurovision for a very long time. And why should it start to do badly now? And this is something that a lot of Eurovision fans often forget about. The smaller countries are really disadvantaged because they don't have the resources, financial and otherwise, to really push their entry. Sweden has the resources. Sweden also has the knowledge how to do it, and that will help them as well. And then this is a bit tongue-in-cheek, but Petra Mede possibly hosting for a 4th time if KAJ wins, and equaling Katie Boyle's record would be a personal fun thing for me to happen. So let's hope that that will become a reality. Now, these were all the pro arguments I could think of. Yeah, let's go to the more negative why KAJ won't win arguments, so the contra side of this. First of all, let's look at the juries. The possibility that the juries will tank this entry is there. So let's talk about the arguments we might have. We could see a 2024 scenario where one song gets lots and lots, and it's actually also a 2023 scenario where one song gets almost all the 12 points from the jury and thus has such an advantage in the jury vote that even winning the televote with a huge margin will not be enough to overtake it. So maybe there's a Nemo, maybe there's a Loreen this year as well with the juries, and KAJ won't be able to overcome this. Then juries rarely go for fun entries. I just told you that KAJ and Baby Lasagna, they did give votes to, but not enough to win. And that might be happening this year as well. Also, it's a song in a national language, and the juries have not gone for songs that are not in English, Italian, or French all that much in recent years. Again, KAJ as an exception, but still that might hurt Sweden quite a bit. And then, and this is a big argument for me, they might be disappointed with Sweden because they are music industry professionals. They expect Sweden to bring this certain kind of slick, radio-friendly pop song, and they wait for Sweden to come up. And then Sweden comes up, and it's a song in Swedish about saunas, and that might exacerbate the fact that they think, what is Sweden doing? Why didn't they bring what I expect them to? And that might lead to some disappointment, that might lower Sweden's chances even more with the juries. Then the vocals are good, but maybe they're not good enough for the juries. There are lots of other great vocal performers this year that the juries can gravitate towards. So maybe Kai won't have that big of an advantage for being pretty good singers. And then they might not actually win the televote, so the second vote we are talking about. There are a lot of televote-friendly songs this year. This is helped by the fact that 100% of the votes in the semifinals will be televotes, so lots of televote-friendly songs will qualify to the final. Since that has been the case for the last 2 years, a jury winner has won Eurovision overall because the televote is just split between more entries. This year we have Finland, we have Estonia, we have Malta, we might have Australia in the final, and lots of other songs as well that seem televote friendly. And then we have big televote magnets like Israel and Ukraine will probably get big televotes again this year. We might have an Albanian diaspora that wakes up a bit more than they usually do because the song is very, very good. Maybe the Polish and Lithuanian diasporas might go for their songs. And then you might think, well, if all of that happens, there aren't that many points left in the televote side of things. So that might not be enough to overcome a big jury favorite. Then there are many, many songs in national languages this year, more than any time in the 21st century. And so being in a national final might not be the thing that makes you stand out as much as it has in recent years. And then a lot of recent winners, televote winners, have been more bombastic. If you think of Baby Lasagne and KAJ, they had very high intensity stagings, also songs that were more intense and bombastic than Bara Bada Bastu and Kai are. And so that might be an argument against them actually winning the televote or doing as well in the televote as these two winners we had in the last 2 years. Then lots of people have said this. Even non-fans know that Sweden is the record holder with lots of wins, and they might not want Sweden to win yet again, and for that reason might not vote for the song, even though they would otherwise have voted for the song if it represented Finland or some other country, for example. And this is something that I see as well, it doesn't have this big winning moment where you get goosebumps and feel like, yes, this is it, this is the winner. And other songs had this moment. Nemo's performance, for example, was incredible. And Bara Bada Bastu is good fun, but it doesn't have this standout moment in the end. Then we have seen the staging for Kai's entry, and they won't probably change all that much because Melodifestivalen already requires you to come up with a very good staging. But for other entries, Austria, France, Estonia, maybe, we haven't seen the final staging for Eurovision, and that might actually be more impactful than Kai's staging and overtake them a bit. And it will also seem more fresh to those of us who have already seen the staging from Melodifestivalen. And then last but not least, I think there might be regional differences. People always focus a lot on the East-West divide, but I think there's actually a North-South divide, and we might see that with this entry. People from Italy or Spain or Greece might not get the tongue-in-cheekness, might not get the sauna theme of the whole thing, whereas people in Northern Europe might go for that way more. And if there is a split like this, that might not be enough to win Eurovision overall. These are all the arguments I could find for and against Kai winning Eurovision. If you have more, let me know in the comments for this video. Thank you for watching. More of these kinds of videos will be coming up for some of the other favorites and lots of other videos as well. My top 37 is coming up. My prediction for who will win the televote, who will win the jury vote, and lots of other fun things as well. So do subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss that. And if you do that, I might see you for my next video. See you then, and bye-bye.